Hello, the Stars are unbeaten in 4 games. Have they won again? Have they won a game since April? No, they haven't, but right now they might be the most fun team in the league after 4 straight draws, games they looked like they were going to lose every single one of. Oh, and they're getting another new coach, maybe a new interim, but neither just yet. We're going to try to make sense of this very silly, strange, and chaotic team today on CHGO Stars. Hello and welcome to CHGO Stars. I'm Alex Campbell. Thanks for watching live on the CHGO YouTube page, listening wherever you get your podcasts. And back on the show with me today is Lesley Ryder of GalPal Sports. You can sometimes also find her work at The Equalizer. No, not the one with Queen Latifah. And at Defector. Lesley, welcome back to the show to talk about this very unserious, silly, chaotic soccer team that we have the privilege, of covering.
It is a strange time indeed, and no better place to talk about it.
Yes, no time like the present. All right, we're going to get the housekeeping out of the way first. This is also the oldest news, and this is just how the show goes. They have a new head coach, eventually, kind of. Martin Sjogren, a 48-year-old Swede who actually played college soccer in the United States at the University of North Florida. He is most known for a 6-year tenure with the Norway women's national team. Most infamously, they were eliminated at the group stage of the Euros both times he had them there. They did reach a World Cup quarterfinal before being beaten 3-0 by England. In 2019, they did not qualify for the Olympics in 2020/2021. Since leaving that job, he spent a year with IFK Norrköping's men's team as an assistant coach, and is currently in his second season coaching the Hammarby IF women. They are currently top of the table in the Damallsvenskan after last year finishing third place and qualifying for the Champions League, where they did lose a game 9-0 to Barcelona, but whomst among us. But again, doing better this year. He's going to finish out the Damallsvenskan season in Sweden and then come to the Stars in the offseason. His assistant, Anders Jakobsen, was announced alongside him, and Jakobsen, it was said, was going to be, quote, in the coming weeks joining the Stars, and that he was going to be the interim coach for the remainder of the season. That was 3 weeks ago. Still no sign of Jakobsen. Ella Masar has gotten draws in all 4 of her games now in charge, including those 3 games since the announcement. Lesley, there was a lot of reaction to this hiring, ranging from what on earth are they doing to, this is pretty good considering the position they currently are in. What were your initial reactions to this news breaking a few weeks ago?
I would say my reactions were similar to that of Sandra Herrera, who put out a really good piece for CBS Sports after this hire of just kind of this seems like a bit of a gamble on the Stars' part. He's a coach with a bit more infamy than successful results, at least in the past decade. It's one that, how do I describe this? It's just like, given where the Stars are on the table and have been all season, you got to try something, I guess. Right. I think it's unusual to be waiting this extra period of time for a coach who's not necessarily the pick of the litter as far as coaches go. It just kind of seems like he's available and he's European, so let's take him. This is not. This was in Sandra's piece as well. It was like, this is not Emma Hayes that we're waiting 6 months for, or Jonah Heraldez that we're waiting 6 months for. This is a guy who's last league championship came in 2016. So and unfortunately, we haven't had any sort of like availability with the new coaches or GM Richard Foyt's. I'd asked about it on when the announcement was made, and the response was kind of, eh. But yeah, we don't really know what the plan is or why this is the guy, aside from the limited interviews that they did and their press releases. So I am put me in the skeptics category.
Yeah, again, it's like kind of like, okay, it's the Stars are playing their best soccer of the season on their third different manager already. So, it really feels like, the Stars are in a situation where the roster is maybe more important than the coach right now. I think if the roster gets better to an extent, you can say, okay, now the coach matters in terms of making things work. But, yeah, we haven't heard a whole lot. Just earlier on CHGO Fire, or talking after the show, Joe Chatz, who joined me for that and who also covers the Stars, mentioned that the Amazon Prime broadcast said something that Anders Jakobsen was maybe arriving this week. We'll see, I guess. Again, no one's heard anything official about that. Just noting, though, I mean, again, you can argue, should Ella Masar have been given a longer leash here? Should she have been guaranteed at least the rest of the season? And just comparing the 4 games she's been in charge to the 13 that Donaldson and Hemi combined were at the helm for. 4 points in the table and as opposed to 6 from those 13 games. 8 goals scored in 4 games as opposed to just 10 in the first 13 of the season. The defense has not gotten better. They've conceded 8 goals in these 4 games after conceding 27 in the opening 13, so they are just exactly the same. They give up 2 goals every game. On form, since Masar took over, the Stars are the 11th best team in NWSL, having been in 13th when she took over. They are, of course, still there. It was said, Lesley, that Ella Masar is going to continue as an assistant to Jakobsen for the rest of the season. Would you expect her to stay? Because, there's going to be interest either for a USL Super League job or as an assistant on another team staff. She obviously has family ties here in Chicago, so it's hard to, I think, kind of figure where Ella Masar goes from here, as, things have, the bar is low for this, but things have improved since she took over, and now it seems like she's just going to be taking a back seat again.
Yeah, she's definitely in this space where she's like, no, I want the team to succeed. Like, she is the meme from the All or Nothing Arsenal season where the photographer's like, this is my club. I love my effing club. And that just kind of seems the vibe around Ella Masar when she's talking about Chicago. She is very passionate about this team. She is obviously married to the assistant general manager and is raising 2 small children. So, as she told us in the post match on Friday, she's kind of choosing to focus on being a mother right now because it's when you have 2 young children, you have to. It's hard to ignore that pull of like, hey, right, these are my children. I made these. I love them. I wish to spend time with them. And right. I totally get where she's coming from on that. I would say I don't think that's going to stop offers from coming. I think anyone who is looking for a coach these days has been paying attention to Ella. There's just a really good vibe around her and the team right now, and it's pretty. You've seen the post matches earlier in the season versus now, and it's night and day.
Yeah, it's just been different. As we'll get into the games, the reaction the players have and that she has with the players when they're scoring these goals, when they're getting these results. We saw her a few weeks ago go kind of mini viral on the soccer side of the internet for calling out NWSL officiating and how it's been bad and how VAR has screwed over the Stars 3 or 4 different times this season. She's not wrong about that. So it's, again, I think again, the bar is so low. This team is never going to make the playoffs. Looking at the remaining schedule, there's a couple games on there that feel winnable. There's a game against Houston and a game against Utah still on the schedule. Those feel like very gettable points. But again, I think right now it's about the vibes mostly. There's a lot of expiring contracts on this roster, so I think there's a pretty strong sense of, hey, let's just enjoy what we've got here, because absolutely none of this is certain going into next season. We do not need to beat the dead horse that is they don't know where they're playing next year topic. Again, there's so much that everybody does not know what happens after October for this team. And so, yeah, I do really think there's that strong sense of, hey, let's live in the moment. Let's focus on what we can focus on, and let's do our best in these games. Speaking of these stupid soccer games, we've got 3 of them to talk about since the last pod. First up in chronological order is the most boring of the 3, and that was the Stars taking on the only team they've beaten this season. That is Bay FC, and they took them on at home at SeatGeek Stadium. In hindsight, Lesley, the only really interesting thing about this game is that it gave us what was the first look at what we were pretty confident now, or at least was because injuries, was Ella Masar's preferred starting 11. It's a 4-3-3 with Natalia Kuika as a stay-at-home right back, Taylor Malum pushing forward from left back, and new signing Catherine Hendrich partnering Sam Staub. Shea Groom and Julia Grosso as the number 8s in midfield ahead of Maitane. I'm a big fan of that. Don't know why it took so long to get, hey, your 2 most creative central playmakers playing in central creative positions, but I digress. And a front line of Jenna Bike, Ali Schlegel, and Ludmila. Not the most attacking group, but a group that's going to press like hell, that's going to make you defensively solid, and that's going to give you some effort. At the very least, this is a group of players who makes sense being on the field together, and when the Stars get into a possession structure, you can see what they're trying to do. It's just very annoying that it took until a third coach in this point in the season for us to get this.
At least we got there. I think I think the break really helped them. It gave Ella Masar a chance to just reevaluate things, start from scratch, and be like, okay, let's figure out who we've got and what they are capable of doing. And I mean, there was some tinkering. They dropped both games of their mid-season tournament, and but coming out of it, I think they responded really well. There's just, I don't know what the thing is, but there is indeed something different about the Stars now.
Right. This game, I'll just preempt this by saying the highlight package that's online, if you watch it back, there is one sequence of play from the entire second half shown, because literally nothing happened. We did get 2.5 things that happened in the first half of this game. Just in the column of you cannot make this shit up, we get Bay FC scoring a goal while Mal Swanson is live on camera on the sidelines. That is a thing that actually happened. We have a GIF we are showing on the stream right now. I'm very proud of this. I think this might be my greatest contribution to the internet is this GIF. Mal is being interviewed about what can best be described as a fashion line she's collaborating on with the U.S. Army, I guess is how we'll describe this. And then she's being interviewed on CBS by Chris Whittingham and I believe Lori Lindsay. And then they cut away from that because Bay score. And then we just get this amazing slow zoom out on the camera of Mal looking around hopelessly, wondering what she's supposed to do right now because she's not being talked to. She doesn't realize the camera's still on her. She's just standing there, and it's just like, if we could sum up the Stars season in a 5-second clip, that's
the moment where you're at a family party and you realize all the aunts and uncles are around you and you're like, oh, no one my age is here. I have to get the hell out of here.
Yeah, and luckily for her, eventually, the broadcast quickly said a thank you to Mal, got out of there, and we're able to talk about the fact that Taylor Huff had just scored a goal for BFC as the Stars left her wide open at the back post on a corner. Nutmegs Naeher with the shot. Stars started this game well, and now they trail. Yeah, so at least, hey, we got that GIF out of it, which, is one of the better things we've gotten. out of this Stars season. The Stars did equalize before halftime. Sjogren gets a goal, just pure effort. And I think, we don't know. Again, lots of things are uncertain about this team right now. This is the sort of goal that when Sjogren signed for the Stars last year, that I think fans were thinking we'd see a bunch of. These goals where she gets on the ball in dangerous positions and just through sheer will puts the ball in the back of the net. We saw her do it for years in Houston. All the injuries. She misses all of last season. She's slow getting into this one. I think this is, again, a moment where you got to just appreciate it for what it is, because for Sjogren, the soccer player, and you could see the emotion after she scored, this is what we miss seeing. This is what she misses doing. And, again, in a season that's going to be forgettable for all sorts of reasons, you got to at least, note the memorable moments when they happen.
Yeah, I mean, this was such a moment for Sjogren. Like, she hadn't scored I think it had, not since, the 2022 season. And it was just this huge emotional release from her. And it was quite touching to watch. It's something that was really bugging her last season, that she couldn't get to full fitness. She couldn't get her form back. And to see her have this moment was really lovely, and really unfortunate that she's down for the rest of the season.
Yeah, again, that's this isn't official yet, but the Stars signed an injury replacement player without posting or saying anything about a player going on injured reserve. For those of you playing along at home, that player is Sjogren. She is out for the remainder of the season. She was seen with crutches in the sidelines of the most recent game. Don't really have any updates on the other injuries. We're going to get to those in a minute, because here comes the fun stuff. Monday Night Soccer in Seattle. Stars 3, Seattle Reign 3. This game was a total disaster from the start, and just a comedy of errors. Jess Fishlock scores in the 3rd minute to give Seattle the lead off a bad Stars defensive giveaway. Literally everybody looks bad on this goal. The entire back 7 for the Stars do not do well here. Okay, it's 1-0. Let's, get your feet back. Let's figure it out. 14th minute, Natalia Kuika is subbed off with an injury and replaced by Cam Bagalski. 32nd minute, Sjogren is subbed off with an injury. She's replaced by Mana Hayashi. Immediately after that, Sofia Huerta scores. It's 2-0 Seattle, and everything here is just absolutely... this is the Heitzema goal. Everything's falling apart. Huerta's shot hits the bar, and then Jordan Heitzema scores a bicycle kick, and it's you're already down 2 players to injury. Jordan Heitzema, who's not had a good year and has effectively been benched in Seattle. This is a Seattle team that had rotated half their starting lineup as well because of schedule congestion and because they actually have playoff aspirations for this season. At this point, it's just, this is a total disaster, and it feels like we're just watching a Murphy's Law game where everything bad that can happen will happen. And at this point, Lesley, it felt like, wow, this is a 2-0 game that's going to get a whole lot worse.
It definitely felt that way. Just to go down into the half 2-0, down 2 starters, one who you just got back. It definitely hurt, and the second half did not help after that.
It could and did get worse. 11 seconds into the second half, Emery Adamas gets a goal. It's a long ball from Claudia Dickey. This is, again, the goal goes in 11 seconds in, so the ball's played back on kickoff. Dickey hits it long. Alyssa Naeher, Sam Staub, and Hendrick all run into each other, comically run into each other, fall down like bowling pins, and then rather than just passing it into the open net, Adamas says screw it, and she hits a first-time full volley into the back of the net. It's 3-0. This was a laughable game at this point. It got worse still. 10 minutes later, Jenna Bike is subbed off with an injury. Jamise Joseph returns in this moment, so that's nice. She had been out for months, and her introduction is welcome. But it's the 55th minute now. If you're counting substitution windows, yeah, that's a third one. So the Stars are out of subs with 35 minutes plus stoppage time to go, and they are down 3-0. You could be forgiven at this point, Lesley, if you thought this game was not just over, but going to be a total embarrassment by the time things were done.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, it was Monday night. It was a West Coast game. It was.
Lots of people went to bed and said as much on the internet and then woke up the next morning being like, what the
What
hell?
did I miss?
Yeah, right. Well, what they missed was after nothing happens for a little while, this game loses its damn mind. 73rd minute, Ludmila scores. This is just a nice break by the Stars. Ali Schlegel does a great job holding play up, turns, plays a through ball in behind. Ludmila runs onto it, scores 3-1. Okay, we've seen Ludmila do this season. That's not that weird. Seattle's up 3 goals. Now they're up 2. It's like, okay, whatever. 5 minutes later, Cam Biegalski scores her first goal as a professional soccer player in her 5th season of pro ball. It's an absolute rocket. Taylor Malum is standing at the midfield stripe on the near side of the field and hits a perfect 50-yard ball in the air. Biegalski takes one settling touch and then on basically a half volley just hits a screamer into the top corner past Dickey. No chance. It's 3-2 now. And this is the point in the game where we're watching and wondering, are they going to do this? Is Seattle going to actually blow this lead?
They couldn't possibly do it. There's no way. Like, down 3 goals as a team who has historically struggled to score goals this season. The answer is there's no way.
Again, I'm going to do some backwards math. I'm going to remind people that up until this point, when it's 3-0 in this game, the Stars on the season had scored 12 goals on the entire year. And then they're about to score a third in half an hour because after it looks like Seattle are going to see it out, 9th minute of stoppage time, because there were 11 minutes of stoppage time in this game. Thank you, goals and injuries and other nonsense. Alyssa Naeher scores a goal, her first in NWSL. Gotta say, this is hilariously bad defending by Seattle. Like, there's just like 5 or 6 players in navy blue standing around watching multiple Stars swing and miss at this ball. Ali Schlegel just gets absolutely clattered as she's trying to take a swing into it. Nearly handballs it, but luckily for the Stars, avoids it. Naeher sweeps it home. It's 3-3. Wild. Just absolutely a wild game, a wild moment, a great moment for Alyssa Naeher, who knew immediately, just puts her hands up in the air triumphantly. Everybody stood around for a minute. It went to VAR, and they were basically looking for anything weird that must have happened to allow this play to play out this way. It's like, and nope, there's no fouls, there's no handballs. It's just horrible defense, and the goalkeeper scoring an equalizer. So the Stars get a 3rd draw on the bounce under Ella Masar. That was a crazy game. Surely they can't do that again, right? Wrong.
Twice in 1 week.
No, some hilariously bad, we'll get to this at the end of the show, hilariously bad NWSL scheduling sees the Stars play on both Monday night on the West Coast and then back home on Friday evening. Not sure what the league office was doing with that, among other things. Chicago Stars 3, North Carolina Courage 3. So just 4 days rest, lots of injuries. Short rest means a whole bunch of roster changes in the lineup. Biegalski, Leilani Nesbitt back from the dead, a player who was not started at all this season and played something like, 40 minutes of soccer all year, gets a start. B. Franklin comes in, Nadia Gomes comes in, Jamise Joseph makes her first start coming back from injury, which means the 3 injured players, Bike Groom Kuika, are all out, and Ludmila and Grosso go to the bench to get rested. Was a really nice first half from Jamise Joseph. This game was 0-0 at the break, but Joseph had her chances. I think we can chalk a lot of this up to rust, but Ludmila's been the leading goal scorer for this team this year, but nobody else, save Mal Swanson, on this Stars roster is as dangerous with the ball at their feet as Jamise Joseph is, and it's so noticeable that that's been missing when she comes back into the team and is putting defenders on skates like she was in this first half.
Yeah, I think it was really good to have Jamise Joseph back just in the starting lineup. I think this team has missed her. She is someone who can run with Ludmila with no problem, and that is just something they've kind of needed in the last 4 games. But yeah, I thought the first half of this game, it seemed like Chicago was going to break through with something before halftime, but they just couldn't quite make it happen. So when the second half comes out, and North Carolina is the one who's screaming in on the front foot. It was just a little bit of a what happened, guys? What
especially
happened?
because it felt like the things had gone to plan for the Stars. They got to halftime at 0-0. They bring Ludmila and Grosso into the game at halftime off the bench. The Ludmila one's a planned sub because Joseph was only going to play 45 minutes because, again, she is still coming back from injury. And then Grosso comes in for Nesbitt, and it's like, okay, here we go. They're gonna load up now, and they're gonna try to go get that goal. Instead, in the 49th minute, it's Manaka Matsukubo with a ridiculous chip over Alyssa Naeher. It was not good from the Stars defense to allow this opportunity to happen, but Matsukubo gets her third goal of the season against the Stars in 2 games. They make it 2-0 when Tyler Lucy scores after Cam Biegalski just whiffs a clearance, just complete swing and a miss, goes right under the ball, drops for Lucy, goes in off the crossbar. And so now it's 2-0. Masar makes more changes, and this is where things get fun because Mana Hayashi and Michaela Johnson, she who we keep clamoring to play more minutes, well, here we go. They come in for Maitane and Nadia Gomes. Buckle up, folks, because if you didn't watch the game, well, you don't know well. You can probably anticipate what's coming. If you watch the game, you know what's coming, and it still doesn't make any sense. 76th minute, Ludmila scores. She dribbles through 4 players, hits a rocket that was still rising when it hit the back of the net, does the backflip celebration, and the comeback is on. This was technically an assist for Sam Staub, even though it was Staub hit his 70-yard ball, and then Ludmila did a bunch of stuff after that, and just awesome goal. Stars right back in it. 5 minutes later, tie game because Ludmila scores again. Another assist for Sam Staub. This is the easiest goal Ludmila's going to score all season because Staub, and this is a big knock on Carolina here, because Sam Staub hits like a 50-yard ground ball that just there's no one there. Straight ball on the ground in behind. Ludmila outruns the entire North Carolina defense. She scores. It's 2-2. And now it feels like we're setting up this late grandstand finish. 10 minutes to go, 2-2. Is this the time? Do the Stars have enough time? Can they win this game? Can they do this magic act again and win it? We didn't have time, though, Lesley, to think about that before Jaden Shaw scores, which, from a U.S. Women's National Team perspective, great to see Jaden Shaw get a goal. It's a well-worked sequence by North Carolina, and it really does at that point feel like, okay, that's it. North Carolina's going to win this game. This voodoo has worn off.
Yeah, and this was the first last 15-minute goal that the Stars have allowed in, I think, in Ella Masar's tenure. So right. It was one of those just kind of takes you down at the knees of not again.
But 3 minutes later, Ludmila hat trick. It's the fastest hat trick, 10 minutes start to finish in NWSL history. She somehow wins a header at the back post on a corner, which again is to say, North Carolina, what are we doing here? Not good defense. The players go nuts. The crowd goes nuts. Ella Masar goes nuts. It's another 3-3 draw somehow. But at this point, Lesley, I think we can officially say this. The Stars have moved up in the world because they've gone from being boring bad to fun bad. And at the very least, be fun bad.
Yeah, I mean, my wife and I were talking about this on the way home from the match, where it's just imagine that. Having some fun watching a Stars home game, because the first half of the season on the way home, it was a lot more of, oh my God, why?
Why do we do this?
Well, why? It's remarkable. It is a remarkable turn of events for this team. Ella Masar giving out the water bottles of Ella's secret stuff. I don't know, but I mean, she puts it to them as they've taken accountability now. They're working on the little things. They're having the difficult conversations that need to be had. And really all that's missing from this turnaround is them winning a game. It's all well and good to see these results of okay, they're hanging in there now, they're scoring goals. But if you want to be a competitive team in this league, you have to win.
Right. And it's not going to get easier. They've got the Spirit, Orlando, although Orlando are just dropping like a rock right now in the standings. They did just break the world transfer record, which is the 3rd or 4th time this year the women's global football transfer record's been broken. That's just going to keep happening, though. At this point, it's going to be like NFL quarterback contracts. The most lucrative one is whatever the most recent one is, as they bring in Ovalle from Tigres. That, more than anything, I think is an emergency move because Barbara Banda is on the season-ending injury list, and so they needed something because even with Banda, they had not been playing well. Third game in that next sequence is Portland. Do want to note, though, Lesley, since I have you here, that you had a very, very interesting post-game interaction after this game. Yeah, the night got weirder for you after the weird game ended. Commissioner Jessica Berman was in attendance at this game. This was a game on Amazon Prime, and so I think that's a natural way to, it's like, hey, if you're going to tour around the teams, just be at the nationally televised game. That makes a whole lot of sense. You can, get your little camera photo op during the game to show you're there, blah, blah, blah. To give people some background, a few weeks ago, there was a game that was delayed in Kansas City because it was so hot, and then it didn't really get any cooler. The game was played, and some players' shoes were literally melting. You were one of several people who were understandably critical of the way that situation was handled, and then you almost literally ran into Commissioner Berman on your way out of SeatGeek Stadium.
Yeah, it was a bit unexpected. She was in attendance to kind of give the contribution check for the Lauren Holiday Impact Award for B. Franklin's cause, Digs with Dignity. Yep, that's what it was called. And she was there. So, I mean, normally when the commissioner is in attendance, like it's just customary to do a little bit of a media avail, and I'd asked about it and was told, no, probably not going to happen. And so, yeah, I mean, I just kind of put it out of sight, out of mind. And on my way to the post game presser, there's an elevator bank that is also kind of like the premium suite entrance, and so I'm waiting for the elevator, and then the lounge door opens, and there's Berman and like a team handler who's just kind of pointing out to be like, if you guys are stair people, you can take the stairs down. Mm-hmm. And like we just kind of saw each other, and then she immediately dipped back into the lounge to take that private elevator that it has. And I'm totally kicking myself for not just like shouting a question at her, but like. It was a bizarre experience.
Yeah, and it's been, the Berman came in as commissioner at obviously what was an incredibly turbulent time. The league had obviously failed on so many levels, was scandal-ridden. It was not a fun job, I'm sure, for her to inherit. But basically the mandate was, hey, let's focus on creating a league where players are going to be safe, and let's build from there. Let's at least get those basics right. And then we know we've got a great product here. We know we have a potentially very valuable and lucrative product here. But, if we're going to do that, first things first, we got to make sure the foundation is solid. And although those sorts of scandals have not reared their head in the same way, there's been just kind of this trickle of other stuff that's been going on. You had the whole San Diego situation where there was, reporting, you did some of this from, inside, that there had been a pretty, just abusive, awful workplace environment. And that was basically dismissed out of some weird legal mumbo jumbo being like, yeah, like we're not really responsible for what goes on in those settings sort of thing, or we don't have jurisdiction, to players' shoes melting in Kansas City because you need to keep that game on national television. I'm going to forget a bunch of other stuff, but it's just...
Well, that was the shoe melting was actually Cascadia. That was
right.
The Portland turf being like 100 and something degrees.
Right. So I was conflating the two. We had shoes melting in Portland.
Yeah, and multiple heat complaints.
Yeah, we were relying on a wet bulb thermometer temperature gauge in Kansas City, and it was literally a case of if it's above this number, we can't play. But if it's below it, we can. So you have, I don't remember the exact number, but we had a situation where it was like, oh, if it's 105.1 degrees, not okay. But if it's 104.9, then it's fine. And it's like, what are we doing here? Like, we're only doing this to get the game on national television. And, there's been various moments this season, whether it was the entire what was the name of the
Unwell
Unwell FC, whatever that was, that
we haven't heard from ever since.
No, I guess, I don't know if to their credit is the right phrasing, but like the league just immediately memory hold that and just like, no, that just never happened. Like that was a dumb idea. We're not doing that. Yeah, it's just been altogether a very strange year. It's kind of I don't remember how long the current CBA runs. Obviously, it was a really big accomplishment to get the current one set up. But I got to imagine the players are already starting to look toward the next negotiation and put together a list of things they want. I know my personal, my rooting interest, because unfortunately she just suffered another serious injury, is I'm rooting for future NWSL PA president Midge Purse to put that Harvard degree of hers to work and be maybe she just seems like a good candidate to be the sort of, authoritative voice, and she's a well-connected person and all that jazz. It just, however much longer Berman's the commissioner, it feels like whoever the next person is, they don't have to be a former player per se, but they should be somebody with some soccer world experience, because Berman was brought in as hey, you're more the business side type, steady hand. Let's just, let's kind of batten down the hatches here and let's, get the fundamentals right. But there's just been this very obvious disconnect over the course of the year. And, not that being a soccer person would solve everything, but it just seems like the league office just does not have really any sense of the thing they're in charge of.
Yeah, it's also, it is just a weird year. I think, as Meg Linehan put it on Blue Sky, it's like, this is the another tipping point in a series of tipping points that you look back at it and you go, well, why isn't this the thing that removes her from the position? I think the super cynical business brain way of thinking about it is, yes, she has been commercially successful for the league. She has made those connections in the business world. But I think what sets the NWSL apart, what sets the WNBA apart, is that they have very strong unions who are not going to bend on player safety and well-being. And if you're not with that, the people are going to call you out on it. That's from a fan perspective, from a player perspective. The expectation is that you are going to put the players first. And I think I think that has been Jessica Berman's big struggle in the last year, is making decisions that are going to protect players and staff in the league.
Right. And now we're going into an expansion offseason too. You've got Boston coming in with some nice training ground plans, but stadium situation is very much kind of odd and up in the air. Not really sure what's going on there. You've got Denver coming in. Again, big plans there, big, lots of money involved. But again, they're building a stadium. That's going to take time. What's that situation going to look like in the meantime exactly? We mentioned the uncertainty with the Stars and their physical future here locally in Metro Chicago. Yeah, and again, there's the, then there's the more soccer-y stuff, which is hey, don't, you got to pick and choose where you want to follow in MLS's footsteps here, because you want to make sure that as a league that considers itself one of the elite in the world and league of choice, that you're keeping yourself in a position where you can compete in what's going to be a continuously accelerating arms race in global women's soccer. And it's looking okay right now. Again, an NWSL team, the Orlando Pride of all people, who are a good team, but they're not well supported particularly, and they're not known, for being flashy per se, although they now have the Ovae signing after being the team that oddly got Barbara Banda to the NWSL. But there's a lot. It's not like there's one big ticket item coming this offseason for the NWSL, but it's going to be a very important offseason for allaying some concerns that are understandable around the league right now. As for the Stars, Lesley on the pitch, they're trying to not think about too many concerns right now. They're trying to enjoy the, maybe not good vibes, but the improved vibes out in Bridgeview and carry that forward into the rest of the season. Lesley, the vibes are always good having you here on CHGO Stars, so thank you again for giving us some of your time.
Always happy to join. Appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you to Sean Anderson behind the scenes today, making all of this go. Thank you for everybody for watching on YouTube, whether just this show, both soccer shows, for listening wherever you get your podcast. That's going to do it for our doubleheader day of soccer here at CHGO. I'm Alex Campbell saying so long, and I'll see you next time.
We all silly like the mayor.